Hey guys, Wavejump here and welcome back to my video. Today I'm going to be showing you another extremely useful plugin, except for it's a bit of a different one than last time for a bit of a different reason. And this plugin is known as ClearLagg. Now ClearLagg has got to be one of the most popular plugins of all time, I'd say. I've seen it on so many different places, but of course lately there's been a lot of more powerful servers, etc. So you may not have seen it as much, but it's still a very popular plugin. So ClearLagg is a plugin that lets you, well, clear lag. So I'll show you exactly what I mean in just a minute here. And by the way, I should mention I am doing this on my server, which is kind of a work in progress right now. So you might see a bit of a sneak peek of what we're working on. You might not, but anyways. Before we continue, I wanted to say thank you very much for 454 subscribers. That is just amazing to me. I am working on my 500 subscriber special a little bit right now, but I won't say anything about that too much yet. Okay, so ClearLagg, very simple plugin, but has a lot of uses. Okay, so the first thing is lag is the main command you need to know. So ClearLagg can be triggered by the /lag command. LAGG. /LAG doesn't do anything, /ClearLagg doesn't do anything, /lag. Alright, so we have a couple of important commands here, and some of these you may not quite understand, so I'm going to try and explain to you exactly how this works. Alright, so the first command I'm going to be covering is lag clear. This essentially clears away extra entities, and entities are like cows, zombies, items, basically anything that can move around, even armor stands. It'll go through and clear a bunch of extra entities that are needed. Now, typically these will be things that are out of your render distance and that are absolutely unnecessary. And you could also, in the configuration file or the config file, which will be under a folder I believe called ClearLagg, within your plugins folder. If you want to see how to install a plugin, go to my video that I released 2 weeks ago. When I do anyways, lag clear, notice, there we go, 14 entities because there were a bunch of pigs and cows and sheep, etc. But they all despawned, so that's what that does, it forces them to despawn. Of course they will respawn at some point, likely. And you can configure in the config file what you want to get cleared. So for example, if I remember correctly, I turned off minecarts because I needed minecarts for something specific at some point, and it was just becoming a problem. Anyways, the next command I'm going to be covering is the lag area command. And lag area is essentially a command that lets you clear entities in a certain radius. So for example, say I have all these chickens right here. If I have chickens enabled in the config file, I could do lag area like say 40, and it'll clear all of the entities within a radius of 40. So 15 entities were just removed. This also you have to deal with the config file. Also, I should mention, ClearLagg's plugin colors are really weird. It could be red, it could be orange and green, or just orange, so it's just something weird I figured I would let you know of. So that's lag area. I know this will be a shorter video, but before I continue on, thank you of course to Shatter on Patreon for supporting me. If you want to consider supporting me on Patreon, click the link in the description below. Okay, so check. A lag check will essentially give you a bunch of information about your server at the moment. So items on the ground, you notice there are only 4 items on the ground. Right, if I were to go ahead and drop a bunch of stuff from here and run that command again, then you'll notice here, and one sec, I need to go ahead and check that my microphone is still recording because some days it likes to break, but anyways, yeah, you notice now it shows 10 items on the ground rather than 4. And Windows is breaking for me. If you didn't watch my previous video, my computer blue screened and it's been a long issue, but I haven't been able to record normally, and so I'm trying to record on Windows, but if there are technical difficulties, that's why. Anyways, there are 48 mobs alive, and again, I could go ahead and change that by grabbing, say, 64 horse spawn eggs, right? And then I could do, spawn all these in, right? And then I could just check that again. And actually there are 38, interestingly. Or actually, sorry, that's because it's friendly mobs versus friendly, or mobs versus friendly mobs. So previously they were 10, then they were 124, and now they are 141. So it does separate mobs from friendly mobs, and I just noticed there is actually a spelling error here. So report that to the developer probably. It's a good idea. Players alive one, because I'm the only one on the server at the moment. Chunks loaded. 443 chunks loaded. Now this is the most important thing with lag. So, chunks loaded is probably the biggest issue for Minecraft servers that are larger. So what will happen oftentimes is as you go across the world, you'll load more chunks, right? And I think currently I have a certain limit set up, so it's just saying at 443 chunks loaded. But what this means is that, 443 chunks away, there's a chunk that's still having mobs moving around in it. Because a loaded chunk essentially is determined by what's inside of it. So if I have a furnace that's cooking items, and that chunk is still loaded, that means that the furnace is going to keep cooking those items. But the second the chunk becomes unloaded, everything in that chunk freezes. And a chunk is an area, just a small area of your world, but the reason why this is important is because it can cause a lot of lag on servers. So what you're going to want to do, this brings me to probably the most important command here, lag unload chunks. And you'll notice it only unloaded 2 chunks there, and I have a feeling this chunks loaded thing is incorrect, but typically what will happen to me, and I did set it up to automatically run this command, I believe, but before I set this up, what would happen is it would say 400 chunks have been unloaded, or, sometimes even over 1,000, and that is really bad for a server. So that is a huge lag issue, and you want to make sure that that doesn't happen. Okay, anyways, moving on the topic of chunks, there's a command called lag chunk, and this will go ahead and tell you where the chunks with the most entities are. So, for example, you'll notice I have within world SW test an X240 Z223. There are 6 entities. Now, here's the thing. I can't go ahead and show you that, but what I can tell you is how you would teleport to that chunk. So I don't want to go lag TP chunk. In terms of X, you do 240 because the same, for example, like teleporting to number 1, Z 223, and then SW test, just like that. And that would go ahead and teleport me to that chunk. I should mention right now the reason I'm not showing it to you is because this is again a work in progress server, so I'm not going to be showing really much of it until it comes to a trailer or it's out. Okay. So, we have covered, the first 4 commands. Next we have lag GC. So lag garbage collector. And what garbage collector is it essentially just tries to do a bunch of this stuff above. So it'll try and clear entities, items, it'll also go ahead and try and free memory. You might have seen this on computers before where, they'll say they'll help clean up your memory. It's essentially what that does. I'm not going to go into the specifics of what that exactly means though, because that could be a whole nother video. But garbage collector anyways is fairly important, and typically within a couple of minutes, I believe it replies with something, but I'm going to leave that for now. Next we have TPS. TPS are essentially ticks per second. So this is something that I'm definitely going to explain because this is very important to know. So in Minecraft you have what are called ticks, and there are 20 ticks in a second. So essentially this is kind of the way the game counts how it's supposed, time, right? So you're typically supposed to have 20 ticks per second. And you'll notice right now, if I run this command, it'll tell me exactly my ticks per second. Now typically my server is around 20 ticks per second. Again, I'm going through a lot of new chunks and it's running garbage collector at the same time. So it's slowly decreasing a bit. And it'll go ahead and give you though an indicator generally of what your server is at. Let's see. Let's see, maybe if I do lag clear. There we go. Now, just removing 38 entities brought me back up to closer to 20 ticks per second. Anyways, that is generally what ticks per second are. Very important to know if you want to measure kind of the lag that your server's at. Lag kill mobs, fairly explanatory. It'll kill all the extra mobs in your world, and now you notice for check TPS back at 19.6, or about 19.7. Reload. This will go ahead, and if you make any changes to the config file, they won't automatically update. So you have to do /lag reload or just /reload, which will reload all your plugins, or restart your server in order to update that. But just lag reload works. Lab TP chunk I already went over. I also went over unload chunks. Halt. Halt is a very, very interesting one because it is a very powerful command. And what lag halt does is it'll essentially put the server in, I guess it's kind of like, if you've ever been on a computer and there's a super power saver mode, where it basically like turns off everything except for what's 100% necessary, that's what it does. So, essentially, right, it'll turn off mob spawning, it'll, slow things down, it'll probably, it disables a lot of basic server functions in order to prevent lag. but I would never recommend using that unless you absolutely have to. So I'm not going to be running that. Lag admin. Lag admin essentially allows you to control more fine-tuned aspects of the plugin. I'm not going to be going over what most of these are because for these you probably are going to want to go ahead and Google what they mean. But essentially you'll notice there's a bunch of this stuff here. So first off, these are called modules right here, all these things in gray and green. And what these are things I can enable and disable within ClearLagg. So for example, I could go ahead and do lag admin start dispense limit event. And just from the name there I could tell that'll actually, prevent how many things are dispensed at once, right? Or I could do lag admin start TPS check task, which will go ahead and allow me to make sure that the TPS stays at the current level, I believe, which you can mess around with in the config. Oh, and I just found another village. That's convenient. This might even have been the spawn village, I don't know. Which I'm not using spawn village. But, we also have a spawn listener, entity AI spawn listener. Of course, you could stop one if you want to, so lag, admin, stop, right, TPS check task. But I'm not going to do that, because actually I think I might want that. And also, I could do lag TPS, or admin, sorry, start, RAM, check task. And there we go, now that's enabled too. So generally, lag, in conclusion kind of, lag is an extremely important command that can be used to go ahead and make your server less laggy. Unless you have like a Mineplex level server where you're paying for a super expensive server with a lot of RAM and a lot of power, in which case, even still, you're probably going to be having a lot of players and needing this. It's generally just one of the most important Minecraft plugins. You'll find other lag clearing plugins, and feel free to try those out, but this has remained my all-time favorite over time. It's just powerful, it's simple, and it'll randomly, go, you could set up in the config where it'll go, clearing all items in 60 seconds, right? And that's what you'll see on a lot of servers, and this is just to help prevent lag, or clearing entities in 60 seconds, and it'll just remind people. And so that is, of course, almost a priceless feature so that you're preventing having to pay a lot of money and for more server performance when you're literally just installing a plugin. And this plugin will, funnily enough, make it easier for you to run other plugins. So before I make this too long here, again, I just wanted to say, check out this plugin. Thank you so much for 452 subscribers. We are almost at 500, so if you could go ahead and help get me there, that would be awesome by saying subscribe down below if you aren't subscribed already. 500 subs, I do have a couple of ideas in mind for a special, but of course you won't see until I'm past there. I don't know if I'll be able to release it exactly when I hit 500 subs, or if it'll be a couple days after, because it might be something that takes me a while to create. Anyways guys, I hope you have enjoyed this video once again. If you have, go ahead and leave a like down below, subscribe if you haven't already, and yeah, once again, thanks for watching and staying this long to the video. Bye!